Most people think disrespect comes from rude people. It doesn't. Disrespect usually starts much closer. With habits you repeat every day without noticing. You can be kind, you can be intelligent, you can work hard, and still, people talk over you, ignore your boundaries, or quietly take you less seriously. Not because they're evil, but because your behavior taught them it was acceptable. Stoic philosophy is brutally honest about this. Respect is not demanded. It's not negotiated. And it's never begged for. It's revealed through how you speak, how you react, and what you tolerate. Today, we'll break down 4 awful habits that silently destroy your authority and make people disrespect you, even if they're polite about it. This isn't about becoming aggressive or intimidating. It's about removing behaviors that signal weakness without you realizing it. Stay until the end. One of these habits is extremely common, and once you see it, you can't unsee it. If you choose self-respect over approval, you're in the right place. 1. Over-explaining yourself. One of the fastest ways to lose respect is not saying the wrong thing. It's saying too much. Over-explaining doesn't come from honesty. It comes from fear. Fear of being misunderstood. Fear of being judged. Fear of not being approved. So you add details. You justify. You clarify again and again. And without realizing it, you send a silent message. I'm not confident enough to let my actions speak. Stoic philosophy is very clear on this. You are responsible for your character, not for how everyone interprets it. When you explain excessively, you shift from clarity to defensiveness. And defensiveness always weakens authority. Think about it. People who are respected don't rush to convince. They state their position and stop. They don't narrate their intentions. They don't plead their case. They let consistency do the work. Most people over-explain in moments like these, when they say no, when they set a boundary, when they make a decision others don't like. Instead of a simple statement, they offer a story, and stories invite debate. The Stoics understood this deeply. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself that worth is proven by conduct, not commentary. Here's the Stoic correction. Say what is necessary. Say it once. Then stop. No emotional padding. No extra justification. Not because you're cold, but because you're centered. When you stop over-explaining, people interrupt you. Less boundaries feel firmer. Your words carry more weight because restraint signals confidence. Remember this Stoic law. Clarity commands respect. Justification invites doubt. Your mantra for this habit. I speak with purpose, not insecurity. Remove over-explaining, and you remove one of the quiet habits that teaches people to underestimate you. 2. Tolerating disrespect to keep peace. Many people confuse peace with silence. They let things slide. They ignore small jabs. They tolerate behavior that quietly crosses the line. All to avoid tension. But here's the Stoic truth. Peace that costs you self-respect is not peace. It's surrender. When you tolerate disrespect, you don't become the bigger person. You become the easier person. Easier to interrupt. Easier to dismiss. Easier to overlook. And people learn fast. Stoic philosophy teaches that boundaries are not set by speeches. They're set by responses. Think about where this habit shows up. Jokes that belittle you, left unchallenged, comments that undermine you, ignored requests that violate your limits, accepted. You tell yourself it's not worth the conflict. But the cost appears later. Less influence, less seriousness, less respect. Marcus Aurelius warned against trading inner dignity for temporary calm. Because every time you let disrespect pass, you teach others how to treat you. The Stoic correction is not aggression, it's firm calm. You don't explode, you don't insult, you don't create drama, you respond. Once. Sometimes that response is a sentence. Let's keep this respectful. Sometimes it's a pause and a look. Sometimes it's distance. What matters is that something changes. When nothing changes, people assume permission. Stoicism is clear about this. What you tolerate, you endorse. After removing this habit, something shifts. People test you less. Conversations adjust. Your presence feels heavier without being loud, because respect doesn't come from being liked. It comes from being self-governed. Your mantra for this habit: I protect peace without sacrificing dignity. Remove the habit of tolerating disrespect, and you remove one of the main reasons people feel comfortable treating you lightly. 3. Letting emotions control your reactions. Nothing makes people lose respect for you faster than seeing they can pull your emotional strings. Anger that rises too quickly, defensiveness that shows too much, frustration that leaks into your tone. It tells everyone in the room one thing: you're in control of me right now. Stoic philosophy treats this as a critical failure, not because emotions are bad, but because ungoverned emotions hand away authority. When you react impulsively, you don't just express a feeling, you collapse the frame. People stop listening to what you're saying and start watching how shaken you are. And shaken people are rarely respected. This habit shows up in subtle ways. Interrupting when challenged, raising your voice to be heard, defending yourself emotionally instead of responding calmly, you may feel justified. But respect doesn't follow justification, it follows composure. The Stoics trained this deliberately. Epictetus taught that events don't disturb us. Our judgments do, which means the pause is where power lives. Here's the Stoic correction. When something triggers you, you pause, you breathe, you observe before you respond, not to suppress emotion, but to choose the response. That pause does something profound. It tells others, I am not rushed. I am not shaken. I decide when I speak. Calm people are difficult to manipulate, difficult to provoke, and therefore respected. After removing this habit, something changes. Arguments lose momentum, conversations slow down, your presence becomes steady, not because you dominate, but because you don't need to. Remember this Stoic law. The calmest person in the room controls the room. Your mantra for this habit: I respond with intention, not impulse. Remove emotional reactivity, and you remove one of the biggest reasons people stop taking you seriously. 4. Saying yes. When you mean no one, quiet habit destroys respect faster than most people realize. Saying yes when every part of you means no. You agree to things you resent. You accept requests you don't have time for. You nod along to avoid discomfort, not because you want to, but because you're afraid of being disliked. Stoic philosophy calls this a failure of self-governance. When you say yes against your will, you teach others that your boundaries are flexible, and flexible boundaries invite pressure. People don't respect unlimited access. They respect limits. This habit shows up everywhere. Extra work you didn't choose. Conversations you don't want. Favors that cost you time and focus. Each weak yes feels small, but they compound. Over time, people stop asking respectfully. They start assuming. The Stoics were clear. If you don't respect your time, no one else will. The correction is not rudeness, it's clarity. A calm no, a short no, a no without explanation. No, I can't commit to that. That doesn't work for me. I'm not available. That's it. No story, no apology tour, no justification. At first, this feels uncomfortable. But discomfort here is growth, because every honest no restores a piece of self-respect. And self-respect changes how people treat you. Your mantra for this habit: I choose self-respect over approval. Remove the habit of false yeses. and you remove one of the strongest signals that invites disrespect into your life. Respect starts where self-control begins. Let's bring this together. People don't disrespect you overnight. It happens quietly. Through habits you repeat without noticing. Over-explaining yourself, tolerating disrespect to keep peace. Letting emotions run your reactions. Saying yes when you mean no. None of these make you weak, but they teach others to treat you lightly. Stoic philosophy offers good news. You don't need to become aggressive. You don't need to demand respect. You need to remove what undermines it. When you govern your words, your reactions, and your boundaries. Respect follows naturally, not because you asked for it, but because your behavior made it unavoidable. Choose one habit to remove this week. Just one. And if you're serious about it, comment this below. I choose self-respect. Like the video if clarity matters to you. Subscribe if discipline over comfort resonates. And remember, the strongest signal you can send is self-control.